One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Just as many hours you spent on the phone, I wasted here loving you. Now you gonna tell me that you're on your own, you're leaving me sad and blue. Just as many days you've been on my mind, you been stop trouble on down the line. Fool if I go, fool if I stay, tell you what I'm gonna do. Tell you what I'm gonna do. Tell you what I'm gonna do. Let it roll, let it glide, let it fall.
Welcome. It is the 28th episode of the Clay and Woodrow Show. Alongside me today is our producer Donnie Briscoe. Donnie, how are you today?
Greetings.
Greetings to you as well. And
Did you say 27? I thought we were on 28.
28. Did I do that? I did.
think you did.
I even have 28 written down. But see, sometimes I just say, is my producer paying attention or not? But good catch, by the way. Very good catch. And we've been out of pocket for a little while based upon, I don't know everything that we're blaming it on, but more or less vacation. It would probably more seasonably appropriate to say that it was either killer wasp or looting or rioting or corona, but really just vacation.
Dust Bowl.
Yeah, I forgot about the Sahara Dust Bowl as well.
That's
and so I think all signs of the revelation are coming true right before our
I think we're on at
our
least
very
the
eyes.
fifth seal.
Yeah, locusts are coming, and blood's going to be in the water. It's going to be all over. So Jesus, God, do not tarry. Come on back. We're ready. So we got a lot to catch up with. I want to welcome you to the 17th floor of the Trellis Carpenter building, this in the Timmy Tooper Studios. And we want to thank our whoop, whoop. Am I right there? It's been a while since I've done this right here. I'm right on it.
Just like riding a bike.
Yeah, I hadn't missed a beat. So Shoe Visions, I want to thank Shoe Visions and its owner, Ronnie Jacobson. Now, I want to thank Ronnie for a lot of things. Foremost, for kind of being a mentor of mine growing up and somebody that I would think he kind of poured into my life, so I'm appreciative of that. But more than anything, I'm appreciative for Ronnie not having me and my beautiful, darling wife arrested on Saturday. And so Ronnie owns a very high-end shoe store over in, it's not Fernandina. Here's what I'm learning. Is people like me that grew up on the other side of Fernandina, like at Amelia South and Amelia by the Sea and down by the Putt course, we call it Fernandina.
Right.
I never realized that the rich people on the other side of the island referred to it as Amelia Island.
That's right.
So now the people that you just want to punch in the throat are the people that call it the island, just like the island, like Prince.
There's no other island.
Yeah, just the island. Well, we're going over to the island for the day, and I was just like, if you could get a little closer, I'd like to punch you in the throat because you just referred to it as the island. So
Lovingly.
Ronnie Jacobson is a Fernandina kind of guy, but he happens to have a high-end shoe store, so therefore he is over at Amelia Island towards the Omni, the Rit. I don't know what's down there because once again, I'm a poor kid that grew up down at Amelia South and by the old Putt course.
Right.
But Ronnie's got a high-end shoe store, and you know the kind of shoe store like when you walk into it, it scares you because they don't have a whole bunch of shoes. It isn't like the shoe department, where they got the $39 Nikes.
Yeah.
It's got just 6 or 7 shoes over here, and so those shoes are pretty, pretty, and they're shoe names that I can't pronounce, like Moscow Bagassini or something like that. I can't pronounce the shoes, nor do I know anything. Now, strangely, my wife can fluently refer to every shoe that she comes across, but we go down to that side because we want to go see Ronnie, right? Not a nicer, greater man on the planet. Used to run Camp Reveille back in the day, and I used to help him with that. One of my favorite people. He's the type, if you hadn't seen him in 5 years, if you talk to him for 5 minutes, you feel like you've caught up.
Yeah.
He can hold you with a conversation better than anybody. And so I go down there because I like catching up with Ronnie, and he only sells women's shoes anyhow. So the shoes really have no kind of special place in my heart. Brooke seems to like Ronnie, but not nearly as much as Brooke likes Ronnie's shoes. So, but anyhow, in Brooke's excitement to not really go see Ronnie, but to get a hold of those shoes, she pulled on his doors, which she had closed a little early that day. And in fairness to Brooke, it said, I think they closed at 6. We were there about 5:20. And she pulled with such might or excitement because of Italian highly priced shoes. Oh, yeah. The door was locked, but it wasn't locked up in the frame of the door. Oh. And it was a double door. And when she opened it up, those rascals came open. and that alarm went off at wherever we were at, the Amelia Plantation Omni Resort Suites of America. I don't know, high dollar, high fancy, highfalutin stuff. And we look right across from us. There's this little gazebo, and there's a woman playing cello, and a lady singing. I'm sure. What's the lady the Sarah McLachlan sappy type songs to a cello?
Oh yeah.
As the alarm's going whack 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 whack, and I just look at my wife as just a moment of that was not your best move. So we have to wait for the security to come, and so I call Ronnie. I try to explain to the security, I know the owner. We've not been inside of the store, but we're drawing a lot of attention to ourselves, and so I want to thank Ronnie for not having us arrested. And so that was an interesting part of our weekend this weekend. So we want to give, because obviously when we, on the Clay and Woodrow show, when we sponsor a company, the sales volume just goes through the roof. And we think it's only fair, since he did not have me arrested, that sales volume be redirected over towards Shoe Visions, over towards the Omni. So go see Ronnie Jacobson over there and tell him that the Clay and Woodrow show sent you. Now, once again, I urge you, even if you have go see Ronnie and buy your shoes over there and the Clay and Woodrow show has absolutely zero effect on that decision, could you lie through your teeth? That's all we're asking.
Exactly.
Lie through your teeth and explain to Ronnie that the only reason that you're over there is because of the Clay and Woodrow show. So we went just for a little day trip last weekend. Brooke and I did over to Fernandina. So for just a second, I do not want to discuss coronavirus anymore. I've had it just up to my eyeballs in coronavirus. So I was thinking about just reminiscing. Fernandina, I know people are not going to know what I'm talking about. For the wealthy people, I'm referring to Amelia Island, okay, but it's Fernandina to me. I just got to reminiscing down there to the old putt course. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You're not so bougie that you don't know what I'm talking about, do
No.
you? The putt course down at the ocean is still there. Mm-hmm. That is magic. When you actually have to putt through the sign that says I guess, what is that, kind of a wrought iron across it that says putt. You have to putt through that sign. And so my brother and I, we used to rule that putt course. They even have little tournaments on Friday nights. My brother and I would go shut them down. Mm-hmm. So I remember that. But more than anything, I remember the water slide. And dadgummit now, that water slide, which could not have been safe, by the way, is now a Salt Life. There was a go-kart track right next to it, which nothing says safety more than a go-kart track in northern Florida. So did you ever use the water slide at Fernandina?
No.
Have you ever been to Florida before? Help me out, Mr. Producer.
I have been. And
You've been to Florida?
Been to Florida. I used to live in Florida.
Okay, but you didn't go to the water slide
at Fernandina.
Fernandina?
No.
Blue mats, this is your last ride. Blue mats, this is your last ride. You've never heard that?
Mm-mm.
It would make me tear up if I was a blue mat. I was like, wait a second. I only got one more ride on this thing. So those are my fondest memories. I have no idea what happens inside of the plantation. I thought the Ritz was simply a cracker. I never knew that it was a hotel until later but down there where the Ritz is and the plantation and Summer Beach and golf courses, not familiar with that. Mm. I'm the guy down at the other end. What's that called? The north end? I don't know what I'm talking about. I think closer to the north end. And so we grew up an Amelia South kind of family. But it got me also to thinking, did you ever go to the water slide in Waycross next to King's Roller Rink?
I did not.
Next to the bowling alley.
I was not allowed.
Well, so that's what I was saying is my mom was not a helicopter type parent. She was pretty, boys need to be boys. But even my mom looked at that water slide and she's just like, no, I don't think we're going to let y'all go to that. And, but I was remembering. And so then it dawns on me, apparently OSHA is not involved as many things as I think they are, because I don't think OSHA would have ever. But today you can enjoy that water slide. Now you've got either, the pine tree that's growing through the middle of the water slide. You got to decide if you're going to go to the left or to the right of that. Yeah, and the fact that they had a wooden ramp up to the top of it, that can't be, it's got to be frowned upon. But that wooden ramp is, and it looks safer than
then
ever.
they added the goats, and that was a whole nother. You had a petting zoo
a petting zoo, yeah. Right? So you get down on the water slide, want to pet the, So
ride down with a goat.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun.
My mom was even, she's just like, listen, I'm pretty much up for anything, but my boys aren't going to that water slide. So, but apparently Someone did. So if you did actually use that water slide and you're brave enough to admit it, if you could just comment down at the bottom, and perhaps I'm just bougie, or I might have had just a bad mother that would not let me.
Yeah, I think it's more your mother.
We're gonna blame it on my mom. Yeah,
No,
I think so.
it's definitely mine.
Yeah,
Mine's definitely.
yeah. She was just like, I'm sorry, but so other vacations, and I posted a little bit on this on Facebook. I don't know that you saw, but we went up to the mountain area, but stayed at a lake.
I did.
And I started diving into the tax card like all vacationers do. They pull up the tax card of the VRBO that they're staying in, and I saw the name James Cantori. I was like, well, there can't be a lot of James Cantoris. I wonder if this is the one. And so I start kind of snooping around, and I look up his home address is in Smyrna, but I then look up the weather channels. I said, Clay, this might be easier. Let's just start looking through the house. I mean, not snooping. I am staying there.
Right.
But I was just like, so I noticed a lot of books about weather. And then I go into the bedroom that my wife and I are staying in, and there's a picture up of a bald-headed guy playing golf at the McGladrey. I was like, well, that's Jim Cantori right there. So with that being said, I think we falsely gave the impression that we were kind of staying at a kind of uppity VRBO because Jim Cantori owned it. Furthest thing from the case.
Rustic.
Oh, it was in its natural element, and it was.
I saw I had the next best thing to a slide. They were jumping off like a roof there.
Now down at the water, his dock was cool. It was awesome. Jim Cantori's living arrangements up at the old cabin is the plumbing worked so well that you couldn't ever get the plumbing to turn back off, and so through the night you got to listen to the plumbing continue to run. So it was definitely in its natural state. But I did want to make sure, because our listeners, they see me as a man of the people. They don't want me to be kind of a bougie kind of guy. No. But then when they hear I'm hanging out at Jim Cantori's place, they're like, oh, maybe I don't know Clay like I think you do. Oh, trust me. It was bare. It was kind of last minute trip. It was the last VRBO on the list, and now we know why. Old Jimbo needs to upgrade his cabin just a little bit. Other news that we need to probably cover is it looks like baseball is coming back like the 27th, 28th of July. So that gets me excited. Baseball is the kind of my relaxing sport to watch in the evenings, about a 50% chance. I don't know what's going on with SEC football. I can't talk about it quite yet. I get too upset. It doesn't look very promising to me at this time. And then just some other things. And then I want to check in with you, but you made this point to me. I know I'm just all over the board today, but I'm trying to get a lot of material.
It's a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. We actually had somebody to email us. I can't even say this with a straight face, but just checked in on us and let us know that he was missing the show.
Yeah.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was Mark Mooneyhan.
Well,
I just cannot, and I did not pay him to do that. The fact that he even had a knowledge of the fact that we had a show just amazes me.
Yeah.
And so we want to say thank you to Mark Mooneyhan. And if over here in our prize closet, if we had like a Def Leppard CD to give him, we'd give it to him. But quite frankly, Coach Mooneyhan, we have nothing to give you other than our thanks, and we are very appreciative for that. Coach Mooneyhan, he technically did not teach me science. I was in the other block, but he did help me in making a little rocket that you built. But more than anything, he was my middle school football coach.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm very appreciative of that. Now, once again, this will get me in trouble, but I know you're going to find this hard to believe. Back in the days when we had two middle school football coaches, we had an offensive coach and a defensive coach.
That was the staff?
Yeah, that was the staff, as opposed to the 13 that we're using now at our middle schools in order to coach. Yeah, just two coaches strangely could handle a football team back in those days. But times are changing.
They are.
But thank you, Coach Mooneyhan. Also, just an overall good dude. So we thank him for checking in. He's the listener of the week. We don't have a listener of the week.
We do now.
We do now. Thank you, Coach Mooneyhan. You're the listener of the week. So want to also just give a quick plug of thanks to the Blackshear City Council. Hold on. I was trying to do it with a straight face. Excuse me. I'd like to give a quick word of thanks to I still can't do it. With the Blackshear City Council. Mr. Producer, were you able to watch any of the meeting?
Not as much as I wanted to. I wanted to go back and finish it, but it was getting really good, and I was like, I can't watch anymore. I got to go eat, come back. I didn't make it back, but what I saw was very entertaining.
Oh, I mean, So I am a bit of a movie snob. Like even a great movie, I have no desire to watch a movie twice. I just never have. As much as I love like your Fletch, your Vacation, your Chevy Chase, your Stripes, I don't see them twice. I got to wait a decade before I want to see it again. Now, other than Christmas Vacation, out of tradition on Christmas Eve, I will watch it every year.
Yeah.
I couldn't put it down. I would watch it and then I would convince someone else to watch it, but I felt like I needed to watch it with them so they would not miss the nuance of the meeting. It had everything, all the ingredients, to the point that it had awkward silence, which I love. I don't know why,
Yeah,
but
I'm a big fan of awkward.
I love awkward silence. Mm-hmm. Now, on top of that, it just, I don't want to be so specific to silence for just a second, just awkward all around.
Awkward.
Then on top of it all, and it's hard, very difficult to work this into Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or NBC sitcom, whatever. But technical see, we just had one. Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
It's hard to work that into a script. They did it beautifully. They did it with purpose and meaning. And so
it was almost like it was scripted. I was really.
It was too good to be scripted. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Or if I would have picked up the phone and described it to you and said, we need to do this as like a sitcom, you were just like, well, it's not believable. But this was real life in front of our eyes. So I thank the Blackshear City Council. Now, some people said I'm disappointed, I'm embarrassed. Oh, not me, because it gave me hope in my own local city commissions and city councils over in Ware County and Waycross that perhaps were a little bit more sophisticated than we thought. It gave me just a moment of hope that we're not nearly as bad as we think we are. And it had and one guy who made to me, I don't know the background story. And if I think I did, I think it would hurt the rest of the story because it would lose some of the comedic element of it all. Mm-hmm. But then almost like a Gettysburg type address from Corey Lessig. And I think I'm butchering that poor man's name. By the way, a great educator as well. But he gave like an impassioned plea. And then all of a sudden, here's what he did. And it ruined it for me. He started using sense.
Oh,
I was just like, no, nobody wants that.
No entertainment value.
There's no entertainment value in he being competent and him evaluating and him being analytical. He did all those kind of things. And I'm just like, well, he's lost my best actor award because that's no bueno. Yeah. That's no good. But Corey Lessig started trying to make sense and be practical about something. So I wanted to shut him down. I was like, that has no comedic integrity whatsoever. But then the thing that really disappointed me is that, come to find out, I think they've worked out their budget issues. Highly disappointed by that. Now, I know the citizens and employees of the city of Blackshear need that budget to be worked out. Mm-hmm. But for my own personal appreciation of the just TV gold that they were producing, mm-hmm. I thank you, Blackshear City Commission. Now, some best supporting roles in that whole thing. And I want to be careful. It's too small of a town. But there's some people that just they did not say a word, but their facial expressions, Academy Award winning, Meryl Streep type performances. Mm-hmm. The gentle drink of a sip of a cup, those types of things. You go back and watch it repeatedly. You will pick up on some comedic genius in this thing. Neil Simon could not have written a better playwright than what occurred. Blackshear City Commission, the Clay and Woodrow Show, we salute you, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I want to give you a little bit of update on the Waycross Police Department and their efforts to continue to stop the California rolls at Cherry Street and Dorothy. Now I know more. It is critical that occur for the safety of citizens. So I'm on board. Like I've done a 180. Earlier I was just like, aren't we going a little bit overboard? And now I'm to the point I was just like, we can't be. So I go to someone's house in Blackshear who would go nameless, but I'm working with them in my profession as a real estate agent. And we are taking pictures and I'm having to move their stuff around so we can get pictures. That's one of the things we do in the world of real estate. And I start to move this big stack of stuff. This gentleman in Blackshear has a ticket on the corner of Dorothy and Cherry where he has rolled through the stop sign and it is the same officer at the same locations 3 days after me, maybe 4 days after me. Now,
So you were not singled out.
oh no, this is no profiling, and you got to love them for that.
Yeah.
This is across the board. This is, listen, revenue enhancement is revenue enhancement. We're getting anybody and everybody. This poor guy lives over in Blackshear. And so same officer, same intersection. But this is what I found out to make me feel better about my situation is, if you remember, that happened to me on Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. And for those of you that are saying, well, Clay, what you need to do then is you need to stop at a stop sign. You wouldn't have this problem. What did I say at our last? You're right. It's on me.
Yeah.
Okay. But remember, 2 or 3 days after that, I was behind a police officer, and he rolled right through it just like I did.
Yes.
You might say, well, Clay, do you have a problem? I'm sorry, Clay, you got a problem? I don't. He did what 99% of North Americans do when they come to a four-way stop in rural America, and there's no way anyone's anywhere. You kind of come to close to stop and roll. So I don't have a problem with that, okay? So I don't have a problem with me getting stopped. I don't have a problem with the guy rolling through just like I rolled through. That seemed reasonable to me. But let's go now to the following week, exactly a week. I go down that. That's how I get home. So it's not like I go down this road every day, multiple times. Mm-hmm. But now, buddy, I'm stopping. I mean, I got a hard one count after my tires come to a stop. So exactly a week after that, a man is pulled over at that same intersection, but off to the right. But there's a police car behind me. So I'm like, listen, I'm not goofing this up. I've already sent in to check for $185.
Wow.
By the way, not pesos, dollars, American dollars, $185 for the old California roll. And so the police car is behind me, and he's coming to assist the police car that's already pulled this guy over for probably another California roll, because this is critical to our community, shutting down these California rolls. Mm-hmm. And so I come to the complete stop, and I do my 1001, and I look in my rearview mirror, and the police officer behind me, he goes, "Go!" like this to me. And I'm just like, what do you guys want? Do you want me to come to a complete stop? Do you want me not to come to So my thing is, do I have a problem with any of the three things that occurred? None. But they do have to pick one. I can live with any of the three.
Yeah.
So they got on to me for coming to a complete stop. Mm-hmm. They got on to me for rolling through a stop. And the police officer in the middle of all this rolled through it just like I did. So I just need them to give me a memo, what we call memo to file. Mm-hmm. I need a memo to file as to how I'm supposed to behave. And it's much like being married. You know, you get mixed signals in what she told you thought you did, but the next time she wants something done differently, you don't care what she ultimately wants. Can you just don't leave me hanging. You act like you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you're talking
about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm
just
like, well, I thought you said that you wanted me, metaphorically in the marriage, I thought you wanted me to come to a complete stop. But then you got on to me when I came to a complete. The other day you got on to me when I wrote. Well, I don't care. Just let me know what you. So that's all I'm saying. Extremely supportive of the Waycross Police Department. WPD, could you just let me know which one of those things you want me to do? Because you've gotten on to me when I came to a complete stop, and you've gotten on to me when I rolled through the stop. And then I tried to learn by watching you, and I watched you roll through the stop, which I was fine with. Mm-hmm. So do you understand how I'm a bit confused?
I do. I'm
supportive,
confused.
Yet confused.
I'm thinking about walking home.
Yeah. And so now I get the yips. You know, in the golf, when you get the mental yips, when I get to that stop sign, I mean, I don't know what to do. So I have the mental yips at Dorothy and Cherry. So I'm just warning the good people out there. I would love to tell you to come to a really complete stop. I'm not sure that's what you're supposed to do.
No, I'm not either.
So anyhow, I have the mental yips driving home every day.
As you should.
Yeah, and so that's the last thing that I needed to address, just to bring everybody up. And you just say, well, Clay, you need to be supportive. Oh, gracious. I'm supportive. Not an issue of support.
Yeah.
I'm just confused. That's all. Much like marriage.
You can be supportive and confused.
Listen, I support my wife more than any person on planet Earth, but I stay confused with her.
That's right.
Okay? So not an issue of support. Just confused. Mr. Producer, it's been a long time since we've caught up. Anything on your heart, anything that you have a burden for?
You know, just the normal stuff. You know,
you're masked up today.
I am,
and I appreciate that.
Just
almost like a courtesy.
doing the courtesy thing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Can I tell you though, and I feel like we know each other well enough to, with you wearing a mask tightly like that, it looks like a small animal is crawling out from under your mask.
A large squirrel.
A gray squirrel
Yeah.
is crawling out from underneath your mask.
It's like I put a squirrel in my mouth.
Yeah.
And just put a mask over it.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of controversy about masks. Do you realize that?
Oh yeah.
So we're going to steer away from that.
That's.
I mean, I don't have this opinion, but I don't know that wearing a mask with a Grizzly Adams beard is necessarily all that effective. Is that possible?
Yeah, I think some stuff's getting caught down here in the
Yeah,
bottom.
because
But-
the fact that your lunch is in 3/4 of the bottom of the beard,
But that
don't.
lunch isn't gonna make
Yeah, but you could get hungry later. But the lunch doesn't have Corona anyhow, so you're good. Now,
It's actually a medical thing to keep your keep your blood sugar in check.
Oh.
If
if you get
feeling kinda
emergency,
woozy,
just lick off the bottom of the.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds reasonable. Hey, listen, that sounds as consistent as anything else that I've heard so far, about mask. And I love the fact that I should do this, should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, why not? I probably shouldn't. People are very sensitive about this mask, but the leader of the free world stands 6 inches from someone and does not wear a mask. It's going to be hard to convince other people
Oh, sure.
to wear a mask. But that's just one of the many issues that. But listen, here's what I think. Like in everything I think in life is do what you feel comfortable doing, just so you don't encroach upon me in my life, or I don't encroach upon you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for doing as you feel lit. The older I get, I'm definitely getting crankier, according to everyone that lives with me, almost becoming more libertarian, a little bit more libertarian. Just listen, if you leave me alone and I leave you alone, let's just pursue.
You stay out. You stay out of my yard. I'll stay out of yours. That's
Exactly.
The sort of thing.
I'm getting a little bit more libertarian the older and older that I get, and definitely crankier. Although I have no problems with young kids being in my front yard. I'm not at that point. I don't want kids, scream at kids for being in my. I really don't have that nice of a front yard anyhow. So young kids, if you want to come ride your bike through my front yard, I have no issues with that. I'm not that cranky. I'm not that big of a curmudgeon. Yeah. A summary. So we're going to say, I'm going to lean towards stopping at Dorothy and Cherry at this point because I got verbally accosted when I did stop. I can live with that. I got a $185 certificate when I didn't stop. So I'm going to say stop at Dorothy and Cherry.
Yeah, that's a good call.
The second thing is let's get fired up for a little baseball. I didn't even get into it, but the designated hitter is coming to the National League, which is just makes me sick to my stomach. But that's okay. Get fired up. I think folks that refer to Amelia Island as the island should be punched directly in the throat. Well, we should never punch a lady. Okay, we would find that lady's husband and punch him in the throat if you refer to it as the island.
What about if we had a lady punch the lady?
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. That kind of violence is just fine. Jim Cantori, I don't know the kind of money Jim Cantori makes. I might have Googled it. It might have said $6.4 million. But he needs to update his daggum cabin. I don't know if that's number 3 or number 4. We're going to go with that's number 4. And then our last thing that we want to touch, and most importantly, is God bless the Blackshear City Council. Can we all agree with that?
Amen.
You guys have a great week. Enjoy your 4th and the Clay and Woodrow show. We'll be back and forth during the summertime, still working out some vacation stops, but it is great to see you.
Outside, let her go.